welcome everyone to our next episode of our podcast at Empowered Youth Coaching. This is Mary Lou Coombe, and today I have the beautiful Gezzell here with us. This is a sister from another mother, guys. I can't tell you how much I love this woman here, and finally to get her on one of these episodes is just golden. Hint, hint, and heads up, we're going to see a lot more of her because I want to do a lot more with you, Gezzell. Gezzell is just this beautiful person that's come into my life a few years ago. We've connected, we've clicked. We're both mums of boys. We have so much in common and resonate so much with each other. And behind closed doors, we have the most incredible talks. And I'm so proud to say that Gezzell had stepped into my container with the Empowered Youth Coaching Foundations course, up leveling, not just in her own business, but as a mother as well of boys and wanting to understand kids more, which is just another tick in our connection, I think, in understanding each other and all these beautiful conversations that we have behind doors. And I'm like, that's it. We need to bring some of them out to the world, have this conversation. So today we're going to be focused on being mums of boys and giving that a little bit of voice to our emotions and observations and some of the things we don't talk about. It's only going to be a short one because we could talk for days and hours. And and I have been speaking to years about this. So but we're just going to share a little bit about that with you today. But I would love for Gezzell for you to introduce yourself, my love, and tell us about the gorgeous magic, a little bit of it anyway. If you can shove it all into a quick intro and let us know a little bit about you, my love.
I will try.
No
Actually, I will.
trying, do or do not
That's
do.
right. I will not try. I will do. See, I grab myself there too. We're always students of the universe. Thank you so much for having me on, Mary Lou. It's an honor and a privilege to do the work alongside of you and with you and to be in the containerships that you create because your knowledge is phenomenal and the way you converse it is for anyone and everybody. So there is no limit to who can actually come in and receive from you. So,
Thank you,
and
my
I like to think
darling.
that that is really something that sets us in a frequency together. So I work a lot with energy and I work a lot with the scientific proof as well. I am very much into my intuition and trust my gut a lot. It's taken me a long time to get to that point of really listening in and really finding my own voice and my own inner strength and hearing of. But then there's the other side of me that's like, well, prove it.
Of course.
Prove it. So I love to dig and to delve into knowledge of all sorts. So to really open up and expand my understanding of the things that I don't know, because there's a lot that I don't know and there's a lot that I think I do. But
Yes, there's that too. All of us, all of us.
yes, it's really beautiful to know that I get to be my own student and teacher, and then that gives me permission to share that with my sons. So I am, as Mary Lou said, a mother of two boys, and I was very young minded about having kids. It wasn't a big thing for me, and we had a lot of trouble not conceiving but holding. So to even have the two that I have is an incredible blessing. To not have a daughter means that I have stepped into a totally different role as a woman and a queen and a goddess figure for the kings that
Oh,
we are raising. So, it gives me a privilege, but also a huge responsibility to change up what I perceived to be to be a mum. Like I
oh,
honestly thought I would have a daughter. I honestly thought that I would be able to do hair and nails and makeup and
I
I was
hear you so much.
I was a little I was a little crushed, to be completely honest. From, my first son was incredible. I had no idea what I was carrying with either of my boys.
Me
And
too,
when I had
yeah.
my when I had my second son, there was a big part of me that went into bugger. He's not a girl. And then I had to deal with all the guilt and the shame that came up with that because I had this beautiful, healthy, gorgeous baby. And now after years, my boys now are 16 and a half and nearly 14, and they are two of the most beautiful souls that I've ever had the privilege of knowing, regardless that they came through my portal.
Yeah, and
They're just
regardless of their gender, right?
exactly. Yeah. And the strength that they have and what they've taught and shown me. So to step into your container to actually understand the knowing of, I get the intuition side of things, but I really wanted to harness in on facts and like it's like the facts and figures of it all,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
give me the proof so I can actually then go to the people that are like me, the kids that are like me, my son's friends that are like me, that are like, oh, I don't believe it yet. Okay, that's
yeah,
cool. Let me show you and let me guide you so you can. And
yeah,
then you get your power. Then you get to stand in the knowledge because this is only one part of a puzzle. There's so much more to it.
yeah,
So it's an honor and a privilege to be able to be a mum of boys, to be a feminine mum of boys because they've
yeah. That's
really
a
made this
huge
shift in
difference,
my
isn't it?
yes. And to be witnessed by my sons, which are mini men that get to go, Mum, you look gorgeous today, or Mum, let me give you a cuddle, or the little boys giving mums the flowers, and your heart just melts. It's that doesn't go away if you get to nourish yourself first, so they get to see that, and then they just emulate that back to you. And I have two beautiful admirers, which is just incredible. Like I don't need accolade, but it's beautiful to have them witness growth.
Yeah,
So
yeah, totally. And what you're teaching them as well about what it is to be that centered masculine male. Yeah.
yeah,
Because we all
but
have
they
that
can't be
energy.
that. They can't be that unless I am centered in my own energy,
Yeah,
and that's the journey that I would love to be able to show up for other mothers, for other mums of boys that go, I'm ripping my hair out. They fart and they giggle about it, and then they pick their nose and they flick it at you, and then they're fighting with their brother, and then they come up to you and give you the biggest squishy cuddle and go, "Oh, mum, I love you," and you think all of those emotions all in one.
yeah. And
Bring it
they do
on.
all the beautiful things of the providing and the protecting. And like I see that
Yeah,
with my boys as well. We've talked about that innate thing of like, especially when you watch them really young before kind of the world starts to impact them
yeah.
and watching them at their
Core
like just
innocence.
natural state.
Yeah,
Yeah, when they're really young. I don't
yep,
know about you, but like with mine in particular, I really had to rewrite and rewire about my boys knowing about, monthly flows for women, for example.
yep,
And, I also had to rewrite. Actually, I've never shared this anywhere before, but it was really clear to me the other day. I grew up with like the child is responsible almost for the parent.
mm,
Um, and that's just a cultural kind of thing of like, the child must behave a certain way so the adults kind of can be okay. That's a
yep,
message growing up for a lot of people our age, right? And,
yes,
kind of now going, um, I had this thing is like, oh no, my kids can never do anything for me, and it's not their job to take care of me and any of that kind of stuff. So it was always, I'm the parent and I do everything for them. And that actually
yep,
is quite skewed as well because we're a family unit doing things for each other. And really,
mm,
what I want to teach my children is how do they show up for others and how do they be there for others, but they get to practice with me. And so around
exactly.
that monthly flow, once a month, they would like, and I'm talking ages 3 and 5, so like quite little. So you see boys in their natural states of wanting
Mm,
to protect, wanting to provide, and wanting to take care of,
mm,
which is really different to the nurturing of girls. Um,
yes,
And it was just, yeah, really interesting. Like that time of the month, they'll bring me my cup of tea and they'll tuck me into bed with my,
Yep,
wheat bag and taking
yep.
care of mum and rubbing her feet. And that beautiful natural state of the male, masculine male.
Yes,
Like
the
how
nurturing masculine male
beautiful
that
is that?
they actually have inside of them. Like they have from what I've witnessed with my two boys, they have so much more nurturing inside of them than we give credit to the males.
100%.
Because there is nothing more than what my boys want is for me to not just as a mother to feel safe when they're growing up, but as another human being and as a woman, the only woman that they really have on a day-to-day basis. They had a beautiful relationship with my mum and my sister, and there was a lot of like they've got a lot of aunties. We grew up, and it was always the auntie like culture, which gives respect, but it also gives that basis of, well, these are the women in your life, and because you get to witness them being really beautiful women, they can then step in that beautiful masculine. And it's
Yeah.
it's not a gender thing, it's just a
No.
frequency thing. And
Yes.
I think that's what people misconstrued with when they're having only boys, like they are
I
just
would love for
beautiful.
you to give voice to that actually and just help our audience understand the difference between the frequencies and the energies of masculine, feminine rather than a gender thing. I would love for you to give voice to that from your experience, knowledge, training, and
Mm.
like observation within your own household and their circle as well. I'd love for you to give voice to that.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of masculine energy traits that I hold in this house, which means that my boys either have to go into a feminine state or they have to match my masculine state, and then we are at blockheads.
So give us an
Which,
example of what a masculine trait or energy would be like.
yeah, so when we're in our masculine energy, it's an action taking, it's a doing, it's a have to, it's a pinpointed. I've got to go over there, so that's where I'm going. I'm going to take that trajectory straight over to that corner of the room because that's what, and then you do not see the other flowing energies that's around you. You don't see, I'm going to give you an example, which I think a lot of women will understand.
Okay.
Clothes on the floor, right? Not
Yes.
okay. I live in a house with three men, and this is a masculine trait, this like a masculine energy. This isn't about them being men and being
Mm,
lazy. It's got nothing to do with that. What
mm,
they are on is the hunt. They are actually looking for the shower. So if they're like, take it off, drop it on the floor, take it off, because they're not thinking about the flow of what's happening around them. They're not thinking about the fact that they've dropped it along the way and there's breadcrumbs that someone's going to pick up. They're going straight in. They're in an action state.
yeah.
Whereas a feminine energy is a lot more fluid, a lot more free flowing, a lot more
Mm,
aware of everything around you. There's the picture, there's the plant, there's a window, there's Mary Lou, there's me, there's my hair. Everything is in our scope.
yep.
It's beautiful. It's very intuitive. It's very receiving of all of the information, whereas the masculine energy is just the doing, it's the action taking. So, I will be the feminine and pick up all of the things and, try not to sniff all the things as well because boys are sniffing. But sitting in this household, that is something that I am leading by example to be able to say to them. It's like when you open the fridge and you do I can't see the tomatoes, and they're right in front of you because they're not looking for it. So if it's behind one carton or one bag of lettuce, they're not going to find it because it's not right there. It makes it very interesting when you understand these elements that we are working with without shame and guilt, because you don't know what you don't know. Nobody taught me
Yeah.
this when I was younger. Nobody taught me this when my children were little. I went into a lot of learning. I absorbed, I wanted to be the child of the universe and learn all the things.
Mm.
And now I get to actually gift that to my boys. You
Yeah.
know, I'll share a very quick story. We had an incredibly emotional, heavy day one day last week, and I was very overwhelmed, very overstimulated, and I was in a very distorted masculine energy of I've got to get all this stuff done, and I have to do dinner, and I've got to do the washing, and I've got to.
Yeah. All the
So
masculine do.
yes, yep.
Yeah.
Both of my boys moved over to me, held me by the shoulders either side, walked me into the lounge room, sat me down on the couch, and went, Mum, sit, stay here.
Oh,
I'm going to go. One of them started dinner and the other one started doing the dishes. These are
wow.
my teenage boys. And then my other son came back in, my youngest, he just put some stuff on the stove. He came back into me, he gave me a hug, and he's like, it's okay, Mum. Stay here. Cody and I've got this.
Wow.
And
What a gift.
I burst into tears and I had a little moment and he just held me. He just held me. And my 16-year-old, who is like 6 foot, built like a stocky, like he's just a beautiful man, young, like
Yeah.
child man,
Yeah, yeah. But they're on
does
their
the
way to
same
being
thing.
men. Yeah.
He holds space for me. You know, if you were talking about the flow, like when we have our menstrual cycles and when we're having, it's not just once a month that we go through that because our cycles are so
Yes.
beautifully like up and down. My boys don't come in and go, oh, you're on your period.
Yeah, yeah.
They go, what do you need, Mum? Are you okay? I'm very emotional right now, guys, and it's okay for me to be. So
And
to be
what's
able to
so
share that,
beautiful hearing about this, like why I just went like that and got the goosebumps, it's because where for men and women growing up in our generation and, older and even like maybe in 30s and 40s, but where have people grown up going, hey, it's okay for us to have a meltdown, but especially like for a woman to have a meltdown and for a
mm,
man to stand there and be okay with her crying and not
mhm,
need to fix anything, but just to be able to hold that space. And how beautiful is it to hear that your boys are able to do that? But that's with that training, right? That's with
mm,
that, like, there's no shame around emotions and you don't have to fix anything, but you. And naturally they step in and want to take care of because that is their masculine being activated with them with that
yes,
frequency, and that's what
yep,
they naturally do anyway. And it's funny you say that because I had exactly the same thing here. And it was my youngest who was around me. And he just held my shoulders and went, Mum, let's breathe together. And I was
yeah,
like, thank you so much, darling heart. Because I
yeah,
needed that reminder. And I've stepped into my masculine with him in
yep,
the same way, needing to do that without the shame and the guilt around his emotions. And I just, yeah. And what I just really love about what you shared, what dropped in for me as well, is that perception I spoke about before of like, oh, my kids can't, because I had this big thing in me that I
mm.
had to work on of my kids don't need to be there for me. It's not their job to look after me or to think about my emotions. And that to me was a real disconnect.
It's not their job, but
It's
it is
not.
totally their right.
That's right.
It is
And we are a
totally their
family
right to be able to do
unit.
that.
Yeah. So if my son doesn't do that, okay, he doesn't do that. But when he steps into it and naturally shows up like that, I am allowing him.
Yeah.
Even, oh my gosh, can I just give like a voice to something else as well? Like my birthday was a few weeks ago. And the boys had the day off and we went out shopping together. And, it was actually me buying them stuff on my birthday.
That's normal.
But exactly, very normal, right? But my youngest brought his own money,
Oh,
knowing I wanted this specific like traveler cup for my drinks. And he knew I wanted this specific brand. And I was looking for it. Like I was gonna buy it for myself. And he bought his own money and wanted to buy it for me. And that the masculine in me and the mum in me went, no, no, no,
hmm
it's your money. Like, you don't have to
hmm
spend your money on me. And do you know how much I had to do this?
Mm-hmm.
and step back and allow him to feel like that man spoiling his
Yep. Yep. That's
hard
beautiful.
as, right? Like hard as, because I'm the one providing for you. I'm the one who buys you stuff. I'm the parent. That's my conditioning, and to a certain degree, like, yes, we are the parent, the child,
Yeah.
but he so wanted to do it. And that was his masculine being activated to wanting to do something for his mum. And you
Yeah.
touched on it and going, I am that feminine, like I am their daily woman in their life.
Yeah.
They get
Yeah.
to practice with us what we do
Yes.
to go out and be in the world.
Yes. And that in itself is an absolute gift when you remove the shame and the guilt that you didn't do it before. Because that was something that
Yes.
my boys really are my best teachers because I had so much shame from when they were little because I didn't have the tools that I have now. And
Yes.
it wasn't because of them that I ended up learning how to heal and work on myself. They had a great, big, beautiful part in that, but it was for me to do it. So for them to
Oh, I
actually
love
bear witness,
that.
that was your children don't need to be your driving force for you to do your own healing, but your children can be your most beautiful support network and cheerleaders if you let them, if you allow them to bear witness to you
Mm,
breaking down all of the conditionings that you thought or you should have done, because those things are where we block ourselves,
mm,
and then that's just what they're going to emulate, and that's not good enough.
yeah.
Not for the world of frequency that we are actually coming into,
Yeah.
for the love that we are actually bringing up, for the respect and the duality of the masculine and the feminine, to sit in a neutral space together, to be in unison as opposed to in opposition.
The goosebumps I'm getting when you're speaking, it's like every 2 seconds. That's so beautiful. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, we could talk forever.
We so
I'm
could.
aware though of the time because of just so much. So I'm going to just ask you this one question. Actually, I do have two questions, but the second one is a bit of a cheeky one. But the first question is, what would be your biggest challenge as a mum of boys that you had to overcome yourself?
Not having a daughter.
Hmm. And would you like to give voice to that? Because I'm sure so many out there would feel the
There was a there was a lot of preconceived ideas about what mothering was supposed to be, because my relationship with my mum was beautiful,
same.
and that was something I wanted to emulate. I didn't
Yes.
realize that I could emulate that with boys. I only thought I could emulate that. I knew I'd be a great mum because I had a great mum,
Mm.
but I didn't realize that I I could be the best mum for my boys and not have a daughter, and not have
Oh,
not have that mini me,
yeah.
which
You are
you know,
speaking my words. See, everyone, why she's a
yeah,
sister from another mother. That is exactly bang on how I felt thinking, I've got this awesome relationship with my mom. I'm going to have the same with my daughter, and we're going to do
yeah,
the same things growing up, and she's going to come and tell me, and we're going to have all these girly chats.
yeah.
Nope. Very
No,
good.
but
But
you know what?
we can do it with our boys.
I have the girly chats with my boys because I'm the girl.
Yeah.
I have we've gone and had nails done together in Bali because they don't know any different. They're just coming and having their foot rubbed
Yeah.
next to their mum. There's no preconceived idea about that because I didn't put anything on it other than let's go. Let's
Yeah.
go and have a massage together. Let's go and get over. Will they do it now at 16? Possibly not.
Yeah. Yes.
But
Yes.
would they come and actually have a foot rub? Yes, they're not going to get the colors on anymore because they're not, going for
Yeah.
the Eagles or the Dockers the way that they were when they were little. But
Yeah.
there was no, what my block was me.
Yeah.
It wasn't them.
Yeah.
So if I can share anything with mums of boys, there is nothing wrong. There is everything right, and there's nothing right, and there's everything wrong.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Like it is what it is, and your child is the most beautiful, perfect reflection for you. And that's being a mum of boys has had to really show me that. Like
Yeah.
I have pictures of them in this time grid of when they were little and they were squishy and cuddly and like toddler like that, you know
Yeah.
just melts my heart. My ovaries go, we can have more. The rest of the body's like, no, we can't. So I love being a mum of boys. I really do. I am so completely humbled and blessed. Do they drive me insane? Absolutely. Do
Yeah.
I actually know all of the stuff that is not okay with them that they're going through? Can
Yeah.
they be assholes? Me too.
Totally.
We're all
Totally.
learning on this journey. So yeah, it's
That takes me to the next question, the cheeky question, but I feel like you've kind of already answered it too. Can you imagine yourself now having a girl, raising a girl?
no,
Like, can you, because for me, it's like
no,
I wouldn't know what to do being a mum of a girl now. And
no.
I love it when I get glimpses of young girls coming into my house, like their friends or
Yes.
and just that difference, or even when I'm coaching, you know, like depending on the gender that I'm coaching, just seeing the difference in that and what
Yeah.
arises in me with my motherly instincts. But I cannot imagine this house not being full of stinky, footy shoes
Yep.
and all of those things rather than the perfume and the makeup. And like I just cannot
Yep.
even. Is that the same for you now?
It actually feels like there's a simplicity and where you stand with a boy. You just do.
Yes.
There's very few hidden agendas because they're like, I don't know if it's a generational thing, but they're
Yeah.
not very clever. Like they're not street smart. They don't, like my generation, we didn't have like proof. There was no
Yeah,
proof
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
anything,
I know, right?
like we got away with a lot. So, but to have a daughter now, like I know that I'm going to have granddaughters and they are going to be phenomenal beings because my daughter-in-laws are going to be the most beautiful person for my sons
Yeah.
because of the space that I've created. And are they going to have all of the bits and pieces? Yes, they are. We have already gone through a couple of things like that, but the communication they get to have with me and the standard I hold, and especially now with the work that I have done, it was
Mm.
a very fine line where I had to say to my boys that they had no right to treat me in a certain manner because of the work that I'd done for myself.
Mm.
And because of that really strong boundary that I put in place, they go, wow, that there is an energy of a healed, not completely, because we've still got
Of
lots of things
course,
to
of
do,
course.
but
Yes.
that is the energy of a secure, healed individual.
Mm.
And that's my mom.
Mm.
That's the legacy that can be left because then
Mm.
they get a benchmark of something that they can actually attain to because we're all human having human experiences.
Yes.
So to have a daughter now, I am just very much in awe of the daughter-in-laws that get to come into our family. And I will love on them like they're mine.
Beautiful. I love that so much. We're going to leave it there because I feel like this conversation can go for hours and hours and hours and hours.
Yes.
But you can, I'm going to put all the links to how to find Gezzell and contact her if you wanted to have more conversations with her. But like I said at the beginning, watch this space because I feel like there's going to be a lot more of these conversations with Gezzell, and we are cooking up some really awesome stuff to bring to you because we feel like we need it as mothers of boys,
Mm,
giving voice and conversation to lots of big topics that are revolving our boys right now, and
mm,
revolving us as mums of boys as well, and what comes up for us in this space because of the things like we don't know what we don't know, and like you said
mm.
that before a little bit. So I want to thank you so much, beautiful heart. Thank you
Thank
to our
you.
listeners. And we look forward to the next episode.